I used to believe that love was earned. That if I just gave enough, said the right things, played the good child, eventually they'd love me back. But I was wrong. Because sometimes, you can pour your soul into people who will never see you as enough. Not because you're unworthy, but because they need someone to blame. And in my family, that someone was always me. I'm the youngest of 3. My brother, James, the golden child, he could do no wrong. My sister, Vanessa, the perfect one, always praised, always defended. And then, there was me. The emotional one. The sensitive one. The problem. At least, that's what they called me growing up. Even when I got straight A's, took care of my mom during her surgeries, skipped outings to help clean the house. They never said, thank you. They said, why can't you be more like James? Vanessa doesn't cause drama. You always need something. All I ever needed was to feel seen. Things got worse after Dad left. He didn't die. He just left. Woke up one morning, packed his things, and walked out the door. No note. No goodbye. I was 14. He told Vanessa he was sorry. Told James to be the man of the house. He told me nothing. I waited for weeks to get a text. A call. Anything. It never came. And while they moved on, blaming work, stress, whatever made it easier to swallow, I took the blame. Internally. Quietly. I thought, maybe he left because of me. So I tried harder. I stopped talking about how lonely I was. I complimented everyone else. I let my sister insult me, call me dramatic, and laugh about it. I covered for James when he failed classes, made excuses to Mom when he came home drunk. And I kept smiling through it all. Because maybe, this time, I'd earn their love. It didn't happen. When I got into college on a scholarship, no one came to my orientation. When I got sick during finals and ended up in the ER, Mom said, it's probably just stress. You're always overreacting. But when Vanessa had a migraine, everyone dropped everything. Then, last year, everything shifted. My mom lost her job. James was in debt. Vanessa's marriage was falling apart. And I finally had a stable job. A small apartment. Some savings. So, what did I do? I opened my home to them. James moved into my guest room for a few weeks. Vanessa came over to get space from her husband. Mom practically moved in. I bought groceries. Paid the bills. Covered car repairs. I even gave James money to clear a loan he lied about. Still, they made jokes behind my back. Vanessa laughed about my cheap decor. James asked if I was planning to die alone in this place. And Mom? She just sighed and said, you're doing okay, I guess. Then came the birthday incident. It was my 28th birthday. I cooked dinner. Bought wine. Set the table. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd celebrate me. Instead, they showed up 2 hours late, already drunk, with takeout from somewhere else. No gift. No card. James said, oh, was this for you? Vanessa rolled her eyes. You're so sensitive, it's just a day. I laughed politely. Said I was fine. Later that night, I cried in the kitchen, alone. I told myself I was done. But I wasn't. Not until that night. It was a Sunday. Everyone had gone out for dinner without inviting me, again. I was home alone when I accidentally knocked over Vanessa's handbag. As I picked it up, her phone buzzed. I didn't plan to look. But the notification preview stopped me cold. Group chat, family without the drama. The last message? From my mom. She's so exhausting. I feel like I owe her rent and guilt, not money. And then from James. One more week and I'm out. Can't stand her always trying to be the hero. And then Vanessa. Honestly, she's always been pathetic. If she disappeared, would anyone even notice? I couldn't breathe. I felt every part of me collapse in that moment. Everything I did, everything I sacrificed. They never saw it as love. They saw it as weakness. I locked myself in my room that night. Didn't come out until morning. I didn't cry. Not this time. Something shifted inside me. I opened my laptop. Started printing bills. Transaction records. Proof. Then I wrote 3 letters, one for each of them. Packed their things. Left them neatly by the door. Changed the locks. That evening, when they returned, Vanessa pounded the door. James yelled. "You're being childish. Open up." Mom said nothing. Just stood there, arms folded. I watched them from the upstairs window. Didn't say a word. I haven't heard from them in 2 weeks. Until today. A letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a photo. Me, as a child. Taken from inside our old house. And on the back, in shaky handwriting. "You don't know the full story. But you will soon. Just don't forget, some wounds start before you're even born." I stared at the letter again. The photo, me, around age 6. Clutching a stuffed rabbit I'd forgotten about until now. The handwriting on the back felt familiar. But also like someone trying not to be recognized. "You don't know the full story. But you will soon. Just don't forget, some wounds start before you're even born." I must have read it 10 times. Something about the way "before you're even born" was written. It wasn't just poetic. It was intentional. I started to question everything I thought I knew. Did this mean my family used to love me, and something happened? Or were they always like this, and someone had just decided I deserved to finally know why? I thought about the photo again. It wasn't one of those generic, printed family album pictures. This was a moment. Candid. Intimate. I was sitting on the floor, in the living room of our old house. The curtains were drawn. Sunlight streaming in from behind. Whoever took it was inside. Which meant this photo came from someone who was there. I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my dad. "Hello?" His voice was scratchy. Tired. Older than I remembered. "It's me," I said. A pause. "Wow. I didn't expect to hear from you." "I got a letter," I said. "With a photo. Of me. From the old house." Silence. "Dad, did you send it?" He sighed. "No. But I know who did." He told me a name I hadn't heard since I was a teenager. Aunt Lillian. My mother's estranged sister. The one no one talked about. The one who vanished from our family photos like she'd never existed. "She used to babysit you," Dad said quietly. "Before everything went bad." "What happened?" He was quiet again. "I'm not the one you need answers from." "She is. But if she's reaching out, it means she knows something." That night, I found Aunt Lillian on Facebook. Her account was barely active. Just a photo of wildflowers as her profile picture and one cryptic post from 3 months ago that said, "When silence becomes survival. But truth becomes healing." I sent a message. Didn't expect her to reply. But she did. Within 10 minutes. "You got the letter? Come tomorrow. Alone. I'll tell you what they buried." Her address was just 2 hours away. I didn't sleep that night. My mind raced with 1,000 questions. What did they bury? What did my family hide from me for almost 3 decades? Why did they make me feel so unwanted, even as a child? I drove out at sunrise. Aunt Lillian lived in a modest house tucked behind a long gravel road. The porch light was on even though it was morning. Like she knew I was coming before I did. She opened the door slowly. Wearing a knitted shawl and eyes that looked like they'd seen things no one should have to live through. "You look just like her," she whispered. "Like who?" I asked. She didn't answer. Just led me inside. Her living room was quiet. Smelled like cedarwood and thyme. There were stacks of journals on the coffee table. And beside them, an old manila folder labeled 1996, Adoption Inquiry. I froze. "What is this?" I asked. She stared at me for a long time before answering. "You were never supposed to know. But you were never supposed to hurt either." "Lillian," I said, my voice cracking, "what do you mean adoption?" "I'm their daughter." She looked away. "You're their legal daughter. But not by blood." The room spun. I had always felt disconnected from them. But I thought that was emotional. Personality. Not biology. They adopted you in secret. Your birth mother was my cousin. She died during childbirth. Your father couldn't raise you alone. So, they took me in? Yes. But not for the reasons you think. She pulled out a second folder. This one contained receipts. Bank transfers. A legal contract. There was money involved. Your adoption came with a private settlement from your birth grandfather's estate. Your mom's side of the family didn't want scandal. Your parents agreed to raise you under one condition. Which was? You never know. I felt like I couldn't breathe. All these years. I thought I was just difficult to love. That maybe if I was quieter, softer, better, they'd see me. But I wasn't the problem. I was the reminder. "Why now?" I whispered. "Why are you telling me this after all this time?" Lillian's eyes welled with tears. "Because someone else just found out. And I think they're trying to make you disappear before the truth becomes public." "Who?" She hesitated. "Vanessa." Before I could say another word, there was a bang on the front door. Not a knock. A bang. The bang on the door shook the walls. Aunt Lillian looked at me, no words, just instinct. She shoved the manila folders into my bag, pressed a finger to her lips, and guided me toward the back hallway. Another bang. "Who is it?" I whispered. She didn't answer. But I already knew. Vanessa. We slipped out through the back door. Lillian's old pickup truck was hidden behind a hedge. We climbed in, fast. As we pulled away, I glanced back. Vanessa was standing at the front porch. Phone in one hand. A crowbar in the other. Her face, not angry. Not even surprised. Just, blank. Like she already knew we'd be gone. We didn't speak until we hit the highway. I clutched the folder in my lap like it was a lifeline, or a weapon. Maybe both. "She's not just angry," I said quietly. "She's afraid." Lillian nodded. "Because the money was supposed to run out years ago. But your parents kept accessing it." My stomach turned. "You mean?" "They've been forging documents. Submitting claims as your legal guardians, even into adulthood. That's fraud. And if it comes out, they all go down. Your mother. James. Vanessa." We reached a quiet motel just off the freeway. Lillian insisted I stay the night. She gave me one last envelope. "Everything else I know is in here. Do what you want with it. But please, be careful." "Why didn't you ever come forward?" I asked. Her eyes dropped. "I tried. I really did. But your mother threatened to say I was unstable. And back then, no one would have believed me over the perfect daughter." She placed her hand over mine. "But now? You have a voice. And the truth." That night, I opened the envelope. Inside were photos, emails, court affidavits, all pointing to a trust fund set up in my birth mother's name, meant for me. The money was real. So was the adoption. And so was the manipulation. I'd been the family scapegoat. So they could keep cashing checks behind my back. I didn't sleep. Just stared at the ceiling, playing their voices in my head. You're too emotional. You always need something. You're so dramatic. No. I was never dramatic. I was drowning. And they were handing me anchors instead of ropes. The next morning, I made 3 calls. 1. To a lawyer. 2. 3. To a journalist who covers financial abuse. 4. 5. To Detective Fenn, the officer who investigated a forged will case my friend once went through. 6. Then I went home. Not to apologize. Not to make peace. But to end it. They were all there. James on the couch, scrolling. Vanessa at the kitchen table. My mother cooking like nothing ever happened. I walked in. Dropped the folder on the table. You lied to me. Stole from me. Used me. Vanessa laughed, cold, sharp. Oh, you're doing this now? My mom didn't even look up. You're confused. No, I said. You are. You think I'm still that little girl begging for your love. But I'm not. I know the truth. I know about the trust. The forged withdrawals. The manipulation. The adoption. They all froze. Then, for the first time, James said something honest. She was supposed to die during that surgery. You weren't even part of the plan. Vanessa gasped. Mom closed her eyes. Shut up, James. No, I said. Let him speak. James looked at me. For once, not smug. Not cruel. Just tired. It was always about control. You were just the easiest one to control. Until you weren't. I left that day. Moved out. Changed my number. Filed my legal claim with everything Lillian gave me. The investigation is still ongoing. But every week, I get closer to reclaiming not just what they stole, but who I really am. Sometimes I still wonder if they ever loved me at all. But then I remember, love doesn't humiliate you. Love doesn't feed on your silence. Love doesn't fear the truth. They didn't hate me because I was broken. They hated me because I survived what they tried to bury. And now? I'm done whispering. I'm finally free. Not every family is your home. Sometimes you build your own, from the ruins of their lies. If this story spoke to you, you're not alone. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for new faceless story uploads every week. Your story could be next.